Hey everybody, how you doing? Vince here. Going to do a little video sort of to go with Dave's new contest about live albums, but I was actually looking for a new topic to show stuff for anyway, so this will kind of kill two birds with one stone, so to speak. And I'll probably do more of these because I got a lot more that I can possibly show in one sitting without being on here for hours. So we'll start with an obvious one. A lot of these have to do with my youth, and I bought when I was young and have influenced me a lot over the years and what have you. This one obviously being one of them. The first Aerosmith live album. Obviously, I've had it a while. Those are actually on there. Those I think were added later. I don't know. Either way. Record's in good shape. But yeah, Aerosmith live, first one. Got into Aerosmith real young when I was like 9. Actually inherited a copy of Toys in the Attic. It was a promo copy actually from my cousin, and fell in love with it and just kept buying them over the years. So that one obviously is one. What's playing right now in the background, if you can hear it, part of my metal stuff. Alcatraz, Live Sentence. Very good live album, despite the fact that it's only a single album, but you know, they only had one studio album at that point, and there's actually Rainbow tunes on here from Graham Bonnet when he was in Rainbow. But really good album, great band obviously. So that one, obviously from my metal years, one of the best 70s rock live albums ever. I'm sure a lot of people can attest to, with the Allman Brothers at Fillmore. This is an original copy on the old Pink label. And I've had this a while, but I've had a lot of other Allman Brothers even before this, but as live albums go, this one is pretty amazing for this kind of stuff. So definitely Allman Brothers, Fillmore. One for Scott, Ted Nugent, Amboy Dukes. Actually, first album I ever got was the album before this. It's just Marriage on the Rocks. This, also a really good album, which interestingly enough is all songs that aren't on the album before this. But live in Detroit, pretty much close to where they were from 1970. Now this one, not a lot of people talk about, and I know they're kind of more of a regional band, but this was another great 70s band that obviously didn't make it, but had success in certain areas of the country. Crack the Sky. This is another one I had early on. I actually bought this when it came out in year 78, so I got this when I was 12. This is the first one I actually bought by them, and this definitely made me want to get the other ones. Great live album, a killer version of I Am the Walrus on here at the end. But if you've never gotten to Crack the Sky, check them out on the computer. If you like slightly proggy 70s rock, kind of quirky, really good stuff. This one, here goes with the metal, favorite metal band, Maiden, Live After Death. This is actually one of the albums I got when I was working at the record store. Got the old promo stamp on there, and the booklet and everything's in here, really good shape. Maiden was like the first metal band that ever hit me. I mean metal band, I don't mean like Sabbath and Zeppelin or whatever else was just thought to be metal. As far as new wave of metal that I consider metal, this was the first band, their first album on. I just fall in love with everything. So Maiden, obviously. Now this one is from my youth, big time, because this was actually one of the first live albums I heard from my dad that really got me in. This is my favorite non-rock singer, Tom Jones. I've talked about him before in other ones, but this was the album that he had, so this was the first one I heard. As live albums go, I mean, for as schmaltzy as some of the stuff he does, live is the way you want to hear this guy, because the energy is crazy. He sings better. It's with a live band, so it's not as mellow sounding. And there's a lot of really upbeat soul type material on here. And when he does that, he kills it, obviously. So this, obviously, very early in my life, big influence. Now this one, it's Elton John. Now, he's had other live albums. I've got several of them. This was him at the beginning when he was young and raw and youthful. And it's just him, bass and drums on the piano, playing 6 tunes off of his first 2 albums. And this, for him, is really where you want to go, because this is very cool. No production or nothing, just piano, bass, drums, just playing his butt off, voice in full, full blown, not, burned out like it is now. Very good album. This I pulled up not so much because of this particular live album. It's the only one James Gang made, first of all, but because it's got Joe Walsh on it, and as far as I'm concerned, James Gang really isn't James Gang. Even though I do like the other albums with the other players, to me he was James Gang. And as live albums go, for a single live album, this is really good. So, live in concert, James Gang. Now, as a nod to the contest and the prize, I had to show that. Iron Butterfly Live. Good live album, not great, but it's the only one they have. The 19-minute version didn't get it, Vita. And then songs from the first 3 albums. But definitely a good live album. Now this is the only one Nazareth, I believe, had up until the 2000s. This is actually from '81. So at this point they were lightening the sound a bit, but there's still some really good rock tunes on there. If they'd have put an album out in '76, '77, I would have shown that one, but there isn't one. But I really like Nazareth. I have a lot of their albums, so it's Naz. This is a import copy on NEMS. So good album. Now I've shown one album by this guy before. He's from Cleveland, I believe. This is actually live at the Agora Ballroom in Cleveland. But a really good kind of Springsteen-y, kind of like a cross between Springsteen and Seeger. Singer-songwriter, rock guy. This is in his band, the Michael Stanley Band. I said Paul Stanley Band. Oops. This is from '77. Really good stuff on here. Gatefold, pictures, lyrics. I don't think there was nothing hit-wise on here. I think he had one hit in the '80s, but still, Michael Stanley Band, good stuff. Now this one is actually a compilation, so to speak. George Harrison's concert for Bangladesh. It's a great show overall. It's got Dylan on it. It's got Indian music, which has to be if it's George. But I actually found this copy on eBay. Paid less than what it actually says for on it. That's actually the only thing wrong with it. The records are mint. The booklet's actually in here. And just a really good live album. A lot of good George tunes from All Things Must Pass on here. Glad to have that. Another various one, Cal Jam 2. Great lineup on here. Santana, Dave Mason, Hart, Nuge, Aerosmith, and Frank Marino, and Rubicon, which is the band that Jack Blades and Mr. Gillis came from before Night Ranger. They're actually more of a funk rock band, which is kind of interesting. Nice gatefold, pictures, all that stuff. Really good live album for a mix of stuff. Good show. Would have loved to have been there, but it's in California and I was in New York and I was 12. So I wasn't going to. One of my favorite live albums, period. Any genre. UFO, Strangers of the Night. Fell in love with UFO early. My cousin's copy of UFO Phenomenon, as soon as I heard Lights Out, I was hooked, period. And this is the best version of every song on here is on here. As great as the studio albums are, this, if you have to own one, it has to be this. Getting a little in the prog nature. UK, Night After Night. This is the three-person version of this band after Holdsworth left after the first album. Still a great album. Here's back. So good prog album, three-piece. Eddie Jobson, John Wetton, and Terry Bozzio. Back to the hard rock, and the last one for this video, Dry Heap Live. Early Heap fan. My brother, I think, was the one who actually collected Heap initially, but eventually I did get them all back, and killer live album. Lots of great stuff from the first 3 or 4 years of their stuff, and a rock and roll medley at the end, which is probably the worst part of the album. It's still good either way, even though it's what it is. Booklet on the inside. Alright, come on. Pictures, all kinds of crap. Great album. Okay, so that's first set. I'll probably do a bunch more since I haven't bought anything in a while. If I do buy something, I'll squeeze another video in between to show you what I got, but I think I'm going to do this for a while. This sounds like fun, and I've got a lot more I can show. I also want to mention too, from the Robert Z contest ender video where he kept referring to 867-5309 to go with my call letters of 567-1050. I thought of doing going all Weird Al and doing a little parody as a little theme song for myself, and so I wrote myself some VC-oriented record collecting lyrics to go with it, and I figured out how to play it on guitar. And when I get a chance where I can actually play the guitar and with some volume, because I want to do it on the electric, I'm going to do a little video and play it live for you, since I can't do anything fancy, but I can set a mic up and play the guitar and scream out the words for you. And so I will be doing that in the near future. My special guest, the Snowman, which I didn't bother to mention before because he doesn't say much. He just kind of hangs around, literally. And so, sayonara for now, and I'll see you soon. Take care.